Hey, it's Daxy. Please like and subscribe. Please click on the deck heroes icon. Click on subscribe. It's 100% free. Bloody blood. And don't forget to click on the notifications just so you don't miss any amazing content. This video is about the best commanders for 2025. We're in February 2025. We're going to go forwards. Look who's number one. It's the guy that's in the kingdom that I'm in, 1150. Fighters are welcome to join. This guy is always number one. Always number one, or mostly number one, other than extreme exceptions, always at the top. And I think we just got a lot to learn about the combinations of what the people, the whales in multiple kingdoms are selecting in terms of their preference for this anyway. And it may well influence what we put into player versus player, otherwise known as P versus P. PvP. Of course, there's never going to be a Trajan PvP other than these control conditions. But anyway, let's go. You got your Huan Yu and your Scipio. Obviously, Huan Yu does the silence, etc. Scipio does health buffs, etc. You got your Trajan, which is a buffer and debuffer, kind of gives you health, and I think it takes away defense from the other side as well. Also a self debuffer, ironically. Paired up with Trajan, you got Philip, who will give buffs to the specific factions, whether it's infantry, I think is defense, archers is health, and Cavs get a boost to attack. But also, whilst it's on field, it just gives you those buffs whilst it's on field, and that's absolutely awesome. That's been selected, and I think that will be selected a lot across these whale armies. Next, we've got Luce and Constantine, a traditional combination, but you will see variations, which are very interesting. Nevsky and Joan, another traditional combination. Next, we've got Zedel and Shah al-Dur. I'm going to hammer that all day. Just call it Mrs. S. Mrs. S is basically a mass healer. You get a defense buff as well, so that's why it's there, maybe, just as a kind of a tank. Or just trying to tank up ZL. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Obviously, Herman Prime is absolutely awesome. Just depends on what balance you want, in terms of front foot attack or a little bit of defense, just for overall balance. And to the right of that, we've got the traditional glass cannon. And, what's he called? Arthur Pendragon, I think it is, on the extreme right cavalry. So that is an interesting combination. Let's have a quick look, see if I can... There we go. So let's have a look about how that formation presents on field. Obviously, I'm on the left. So it's got Huan Yu in the front row. Trajan, I see that a lot. Infantry tend to be more tanky. I think it was Huan Yu Scipio, yeah, pretty sure. And it was Luce, front row at the bottom, with Constantine. Obviously, Constantine's a mass healer, so that's not surprising. Might have seen Zhuge Liang in the front row instead of Huan Yu, because with Arthur Pendragon, archers get the health boost, but then again, they're going to get absolutely destroyed by Cavs, and a lot of people have Cavs. But because Philip only gives an attack boost to Cavs instead of either defense or health, which I think is preferable, maybe people are going to start retreating from Cavs. Maybe. I know people are precious about Cavs, so you know what I mean, probably not going to happen. But for me, I'm going to be, although, there's some great Cav commanders, maybe slightly more on the back burner if I'm expecting Philip to function in either my 5th or my 6th army. So maybe that's that. Basically, what I'm saying is that Zhuge Liang for RPG on the Risen, and listen, he's a whale, and he definitely knows what he's doing, so I'm not necessarily disagreeing with him, I'm just giving food for thought. Maybe that Zhuge Liang could swap with, never replace Huan Yu. Oh my gosh, no. Could swap with Huan Yu going into the front row, potentially, but I understand why infantry's front row, because they're built to be a bit more tanky. There you go. You got the glass cannon, Hao Gebing. He was with... Oh, who are you with, Hao Gebing? Let's have a quick look. Quit the mission here. Oh yeah, Arthur Pendragon. Very good. Hao Gebing's got that up front attack or damage buff for a certain amount of seconds, before he becomes a lot more ordinary. Supported by Arthur Pendragon, which is an area of effect commander. But whilst Hao Gebing does have that damage buff, you know what I mean? He's going to get in people straight out of there or doing significant upfront damage. So, you know, all is good. So RPG Risen, number 1, as always. SM, what's that? Smart Chemo? Smart Chemo? Well, you know what I mean. Again, Juan and Scipio. Again, Trajan and Philippe. These are different kingdoms, by the way. Again, Luce and Constantine. Again. Oh, who's that one with John Prime? I just said his name a minute ago. Oh, Nevsky. And then we got Zedel and Herman, traditional. My man RPG Risen had Charles Alger. But also we've got the Glass Cannon, Helge Bing and Arthur. So very similar, but just a slight change. Very interesting. Wherever there's overlap between Wales, you know what I mean? For me anyway, it kind of cements in my mind, okay, those are probably commanders worth investing in. If it's only, even if it's only for this, but probably, as I said, in the broader sense, also for P versus P. Okay, Juan Eusebio again in the number 3. Trajan and Mulan. Was it Trajan and Mulan in the other one? No, Philip. Interesting. Gone traditional with Trajan Mulan. Zedel and Herman Prime. Glass Cannon and Arthur Pendragon again. Miss S. Charger. Wow, is that YSG? You know what I mean? Wow. Wow. So you got the tank from Charger, and I think the museum buff YSG, so that might be that. There's a huge sacrifice in somebody's gone. Let's have a quick look. Oh, there's no Philip, obviously. Controversial. Yeah, no Nevsky, no... Oh, there is Nevsky and Joan. Who's gone then? I can't see it, but I'm sure you guys can. I just can't see. I'll work it out, but my brain's not functioning quickly enough. Right. 2 archer armies. And number 3, so it's hard to argue with it. Anyway. Number 4, again. Juan Yu, Scipio, again, the top 3 anyway. Sorry, top 2. Trajan and Philip. And Nevsky, ooh, no Joan in that one anyway, but Pendragon. And you've got 2 Cav armies, which goes against what I was saying before. If you're going to have Philip, maybe you want to kind of play down the Cav influence just because it's, say, based on attack instead of defense and health. Interesting. Luce and Constantine, that's you know, a running theme. Constantine's obviously got the buffs from the museum, which I definitely heavily recommend. And it's got Zedel and Herman Prime. Interesting. And on the right we've got the Glass Cannon and Joan. Interesting. Numero 5, J Kawa. I say all these, if you look at the power, all these are at least VIP 18. VIP 18. If not 19. So that's why their power is a lot higher, relatively high. Anyway, Juan Eusebio, Trajan, and Charger. So you got Trajan in terms of that buffer and debuffer, and Charger just with that massive healing effect to tank him up a little bit, so he endures on the map and he can carry on buffing and debuffing for that a little bit longer. To the right of that, Luce and oh, I can forget. Oh man, I can forget. You know the one. I mentioned his name before, and it will come back to me. Constantine. There you go. And then I keep forgetting the Cav man. I forgot it again, but it's also with William the First. I've got Zedel and Herman Prime, and we've got Joan and Arthur Pendragon. Interesting. And I was going to say for the previous army, 2 Cav armies. Yeah, and you got Philip, I say, just only giving that attack buff. And for this one, Yeah, 2 infantry, 1 archer, 1 cav. Yeah, makes sense. And I do love Philip. I say you get so much value from a 5-1-1-1 in terms of the skills or the golden heads that you invest. I'm guessing at this level, he's Philip yeah, Philip. Is it Philip? You know the one. Here. Willie, no, it's William. William the First, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. This William the First, amazing value. Amazing value, I say, but for these top money guys, will be absolutely maxed. There's no harm in maxing him just to get those extra stats. All right, number 6, ZL Constantine. Trajan Philip again, that is a very strong running theme in the top 10. Huan Yu and, oh, what's that tank guy now? Oh, I can't remember his name. The Swedish Viking guy, I can't remember his name. The prime for Lochner? I can't remember that one anyway. Prime with Huan Yu. So that's just a tank up Huan Yu. I'm guessing that's why he's probably going to be in the front row. Nevsky and Joan, standard. Zedel and Herman, standard. And the glass cannon Hauge Bing with Arthur Pendragon. Wow, no Scipio at all. No representation of Scipio. Wow. That's brave. And we're only like in day 4 of KVK, so this top 10 is probably going to look very differently as the days go on and people kind of find their own true ranking. It's still very interesting. Number 7, Arthur and Scipio. Trajan Mulan, Nevsky Joan, Hauge Bing, Arthur Pendragon. 2 cav armies. Wow, no Philip. Wow. Zedel and Herman and Luce and Constantine. Very kind of traditional kind of 5 or 6 army setup there. I say no Philip. No Charger. That seems to be quite a little kind of sprinkle that a lot of people have. No YSG as well. That's not as surprising. But anyway, let's go on to number 8. I'm going to do the top 10, so we're nearly there. Huan Yu Scipio, very strong. I love Huan Yu. I say nothing can. It's very hard to replace the effect of silencing somebody's active skill and putting them in that box. And it's similar with William the First, where you only really have the active skill. And I'm not talking about normal damage. I'm talking about active skill at the moment. You only have the active skill, but you don't have any of the buffs. That could wipe out a lot of your second and third kind of skill groupings. You know what I mean? All those additional buffs in addition to the active skill. So I love that. It doesn't feature in my team, but you know, if it did, if I could squeeze him in there, and if the game wasn't moving towards smite damage, which it already has really, then it would definitely feature again. But anyway, here we go. So we've got, I've already said Huan Yu Scipio, got Luce and William Wallace. I've actually got William Wallace. Not using him. Just, you know, on that first active skill, I'd like it to do a little bit more than just the active skill. Or even area of effect. I like it to have something like a health debuffer or skill damage debuffer or a damage buff or health, you know what I mean? Just or a defense debuff, something else. Just doesn't do enough for me. So I've got it if I really wanted to invest, but you know, not for now. Early on, I did see this other combination with Constantine and Philip, which I kind of can understand, but it hasn't featured in the top 7 armies, you know what I mean? So that's another thing to consider, you know what I mean? So even though it's top 10, it hasn't featured much in the top 7 of the top 10, so interesting. Next we've got Hauge Bing and Arthur Pendragon. Okay. Zedel and Herman Prime. Nevsky and Joan. I nearly forgot Nevsky's name again. I can believe that. Number 9, Uche Constantine, traditional. The now new traditional, which is Trajan and Philip. Huan Yu and Scipio. Oh, is that Nebuchadnezzar? Whatever his name is, you can see the Archerman there. Interesting. NYSG. So gosh, no ZL, no Herman Prime. You got these two brothers right here. Interesting, and he is top 10 for now. Don't know about that, but anyway. No, so you do have ZL and Herman Prime. So you got two. What's interesting is you've got two archer armies, two infantry armies, one cav army. If I was going to go down that route and force in that second archer army, I might be trying to get a third infantry army, aka completely exclude all the cavs, for the reason I said if you're going to go with Philip. I'm just going as an idea, and maybe go for Ragnar Lodbrok. Yeah, Ragnar Lodbrok Prime or something like that, and pair him up with somebody just so you got that tank effect. Something like that. And one of these days, I do actually want to kind of filter out my Trajan completely. You'll notice there's no Mulan there, so he's trying to do the same. But getting rid of Trajan is a massive thing, and it's going to be a lot of losses, even now. But one of these days, Trajan, you will be gone. But anyway, that's number 9. Finally, number 10. Charger and Philip. Oh, yeah, well, she's got the healing, and he's got that buff that I mentioned before. Going from that Luce and Constantine, another kind of tank. That's for the front row. Those are 2 front row commanders, you would think. Commander pairings. Trajan and Mulan, that's another front row commander pairing for me. Oh, but if you look to the complete right, you got Ragnar Prime and Scipio. I'm surprised this is top 10. I really am. Anyway, and you got Zedel and Herman Prime, and finally Nevsky. Wow, no Joan Prime. But you got Arthur Pendragon. Fair enough. Let's see if I can have a quick look at this one. I only did it for the top dude. Let's see if I can get some more. Specifically number 10. Unless it takes just crazy time. I'm just refreshing to get number 10, and I hope I don't skip past it. There we go. I just want to see who's in the front row. Interesting, like a little sideways kind of attempt. So he's got the tank Ragnar at the bottom. Charger at the top because she's a healer. I'm a little bit surprised that he hasn't swapped Charger and Luce. Luce's got Constantine in order to be the tank at the top. Yeah. But obviously he would have tested this, so that's fair enough. Yeah, different version on 3-3 formation. Alexander in the middle. I'm a little bit surprised as well that... And I'm just trying to think it makes a difference. I'm just thinking whether ZL and Nevsky for Sub-Zero should be swapped. Basically, whether Zhou Liang would probably be able to influence the battle more so, or if it would be exactly the same. Probably exactly the same, just looking at it. Especially because, as I say, Charger would kind of pinch inwards, but so would Ragnar at the bottom. So really, it doesn't really matter where Zhou Liang is. As long as it's in the middle, it probably will affect all armies, maybe, who knows. That's it. Hope you found that useful in terms of what commanders are you going to be moving towards. Congratulations to RPG Risen. Very early days. I say we're only on like day 4. But yet again, he's just kind of leading the pack. And I'll be very surprised if he's not like number 1 or very close to it for the duration of this KVK, as he always is. The main addition for this guy who usually goes to the same kind of team is Charger and Philip, but in particular I'm thinking Philip for me. I've already got the first 2 skills maxed. I'm just waiting for that event where we can do the skill swap from the commanders. I can't remember if they said it was just going to be like the one-off, but I doubt it. Even if they said it, I doubt it. So I will do that at that stage just to try and maximize my Philip and just save the gold heads. Worst case, I can just use the gold heads and just do it traditional way. But the one thing I learned from that kind of, and the video's over for the first bit, so I'm just kind of gonna talk about my future plans for my commanders. I think the way that I went about it, going from a fresh commander and swapping it with a maxed commander, ended up being quite expensive in the swap. So this time, as I say, I've got my Philip. The first two skills are maxed. I'm gonna swap that with a maxed commander. That, you know what I mean, a throwaway one like the Herman original. And I said that the cost of that swap will be significantly less than, I say, swapping to 0 to max. Halfway to max is a much cheaper swap, I think. One more quick look. I think the first 2 or 3 were very similar. The Charger again, I can't believe YSG is there, as I said before. Philip, I think he's in every single one of these armies. Can't stand that glass cannon, Hauge Bing, but you know, there he is. Very hard for me to remove my Joan Prime. In some ways, I want to remove Cavs completely, as I said, for the reasons I said, because of the presence of Philip the First, but not quite there yet. This top 5 guy, as I said, William the First. Wow, awesome. Anyway, please like, subscribe. There, Steve, and I'm out.